A common assertion is that Brazilians show low productivity. Perhaps this comes about because Brazilians are a happy lot and the assertion goes down easily, at least amongst those that believe that work is to be sufferable at best. Yet, if we were to measure productivity by the usual way, the value of the final product divided by the cost of what was put into it by a Samba School, a Samba Schools parade would rank highest in productivity because people are not paid to parade, nor to make the parade possible. In this course, Management the Brazilian Way, I argued that Brazilians can be very productive when they can get organized as they would like to work together. Henry Ford did not get it right, and naturally he failed and left empty-handed, leaving behind what today would be rightly called an environmental crime. Why did he fail? In only a sentence? Because in Brazil he applied managerial techniques effective among Americans, not Brazilians. The need to attune managerial practices to local cultures is specifically the theme of this course. I illustrated it first by the failure of Henry Ford, but then I used the Samba Schools to explain it. So what is a carnival to Brazilians and how a Samba School comes into being? This is the subject of the second chapter. I trace the evolution of carnival from its early beginnings last century. I show what it was like in the middle of last century, and I point out to the role of the blocos. These are smaller groups of people enjoying carnival, from 4 to 100 people. In a daring leap, I argue that a Samba School parade is made up of an agglomeration of blocos, which have surrendered their identity in favor of a larger organization, which is a Samba School. Yet, the Samba School still remains an agglomeration of blocos, some as large as 150 people. I then introduce you to a Samba School, Mocidade Alegre, which came out first in 3 consecutive carnival parades, 2012 to 2014. I show its humble dancing square, its offices and its leaders, as well as a glimpse of social life in the Samba School. But the Samba School parade has people in costumes, and there are floats too. This is what I show in the next lecture, the manufacturing dimension of a Samba School. You can tell the simple tools at hand, the work that goes into the floats, as well as into the costumes, all done by hand. In the lecture, Ecstasy and the Transformation of Paraders, I ask, why do people put so much work into something so ephemeral as a parade lasting 15 minutes for each parader? I hold there are 2 dimensions to this. There is the individual one, the chance to be a protagonist to the world, and the ecstasy that goes with it. But I also suggest there is a deeper reason. If a parade were seen as a pilgrimage, the beauty of the pilgrimage lies in the journey, not so much in reaching destination. This is why I argue that the beauty of it all lies in the working together over a whole year to offer a parade that lasts 65 minutes. But it is not only the costumes that have to be stitched together. The whole thing must be put together. This is when leadership comes into play. And it is a very stringent test of leadership, because people moonlight at Samba Schools. They earn their keep somewhere else during the day. Therefore, the leader must have an enormous capacity for persuasion, and I show them in action. Leaders must have followers, and these come from the initial community. The rest are add-ons by invitation. This type of recruitment ensures a high degree of cohesion in terms of values and attitudes. The leaders then allocate the new recruits to functions as they come available. They work with what they have at hand. Because there are so few hours available for the top leaders to lead, Samba schools are very flat organizations. People are granted much autonomy and are coordinated at after-hour meetings, once a week over the whole year. These meetings have about 300 people at Mocidade Alegre, more of them towards parade day. Social media also plays an important role in consolidating cohesion and coordinating. You get messages several times a day. Of course, people have to be kept motivated over a year-long period. There are several elements to explain this. One of the most important is communal pride. These people do not want to be seen in their community as being the ones that let the team down. Also, an important dimension of motivation at a Samba school is the deferential treatment reserved for the old guard. People never seem to retire from a Samba school, they just wither. But because of the recognition to the old guard, all those that come afterwards know that they will never be discarded. They are mirrored in the old guard. Then they are free to give themselves in fully, because they will be never left alone. Then there are compensations like grand-sounding titles, distinctive shirts, name and rank embroidered on them. These confer recognition and carry a lot of weight in a collectivist and hierarchical society. The people that wear those shirts are proud of them, and the others respect them. An important aspect of the Samba School is their great diversity. There are some members who hold university degrees and may be quite high in the city's social ladder, but most are not. The diversity is mostly horizontal. There are nurses and policemen, janitors, electricians, taxi drivers, school teachers as well. And leaders must learn to communicate with all in order to be able to provide feedback and lead. Feedback is still a problem at Samba schools, though much less so than in the corporate environment. Also, the sense of belonging, which gives them the security that they will never be expelled, and the alignment contribute to the acceptance of negative direct feedback. I believe that Brazil's cultural identity derives partly from the Mediterranean immigration, but also from Southern Africa through the slaves. The first contributed with Christianity and the Africans with Ubuntu. Both emphasize communal values and interdependence. In Brazil, they formed a congenial culture known for its affability. But life in Brazil has not been easy for the poor, of African origins or not. Whether through slavery or rural-urban migrations, people have been on the move for generations. This severs effective links which create a yearning for communal life. And communal life they find at the Samba School, where the most common metaphor to describe a Samba School is family. This is like family. The lectures end with a suggestion that corporate life should develop a more familial atmosphere in order to generate a greater sense of belonging within the corporation. Obviously, that would need to be achieved by a variety of actions pointing towards building a greater sense of community at the corporation. The spelling out of those actions is the subject of a standalone lecture, What Corporations Can Learn from Samba School Practices. Thank you very much.